Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over a cold air mass which is going to be dipping quickly into parts of the eastern United States. We're also going to be quickly covering some severe storms that could be rolling through parts of the southeast and the south central part of the country, and we're going to briefly overview that in the beginning part of today's video. We're also going to be talking about the threat for some snowstorms or snow events over parts of North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, back through northern Michigan and some of the areas surrounding that, and that looks like it could be the prime path for some of these snow events and snow systems to move through. So here's what the current National Weather Service page looks like, and it is very, very quiet over much of the United States. After yesterday's event, it really quieted down. There's not a lot of weather going on, I guess you could say, except for this cold air mass that's going to be moving through parts of the eastern United States. Flood watches in effect for parts of eastern Nebraska. We have flood warnings, which they usually put up, the National Weather Service, when flooding is imminent and when there is flooded roadways and flooding conditions over these areas. So you can see that we have a wide area from Kentucky back through Virginia, West Virginia, much of the southern and central part of West Virginia, and back through southeastern Ohio, and then even kind of these little spots of that yellow of the green there. That's still flood warnings, but that's just centered over some of the river areas and the areas closer to rivers and areas that are prone to flooding. We also have some winter storm warnings up for the easternmost county of the UP of Michigan, as well as some wind advisories in the light brown for much of the northeast, as well as some high wind warnings in effect for the areas that are around the Albany area, where they have high wind warnings up currently. We also have some wind chill advisories in effect for much of northern upstate New York, back through parts of Vermont, even western Massachusetts, northern New Hampshire, and much of northern and central Maine as well. We have some wind chill warnings actually in effect for parts of northern New Hampshire and northern and western Maine there. So that's where those temperatures are going to be very, very cold. Other than that, we don't have a lot going on in terms of the watches and warnings other than what's going on in the northeast and parts of the Tennessee Valley. Your high temperature yesterday for the continental United States was in Falcon Lake, Texas. They got to 94 degrees Fahrenheit, so definitely feeling like summer already for those areas. The low temperature for the entire continental United States was negative 32 degrees in Peter Sinks, Utah. Some of the higher elevations in northern Utah is where that report was taken from. The ice precipitation or rainfall report that was submitted yesterday, there were many reports that were submitted higher than that, but they were submitted 1, 2, 3 a.m., so that'll pop up in tomorrow's video. But the highest report from yesterday was in Cane Creek State Park, Arkansas. They got 3.65 inches of rainfall from those thunderstorms that we talked about in yesterday's video, and that's in southeastern Arkansas. The highest snowfall report was 2 miles southeast of Herman, Michigan, which is in the UP of Michigan. They got almost, and actually around 12 inches of snowfall from that event yesterday. So quickly to cover what's going on with the Storm Prediction Center and what's going on with the thunderstorm activity, we have a general risk according to the Storm Prediction Center for much of northern Florida, back through southern Georgia, parts of Alabama, Mississippi, much of, and actually the entire state of Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and parts of eastern Texas, right through there. That's for today. So that's where we really don't have too much of a threat of anything major or severe, I guess you could say, but we do have a chance of some thunderstorms rolling through. We still have a general risk for the southeast as we go into tomorrow. I'm kind of questioning whether they'll actually put up a marginal risk. They may upgrade some of these areas to a marginal risk depending on whether the conditions are prime for that. And here's what the day 3 outlook looks like, and I believe this would be for Wednesday. They're looking at a general risk still for Florida and for parts of southeastern Georgia as well, and that's for Wednesday. And that's going to wrap it up for the severe weather part of this video. Let's start talking about the cold air and why you guys probably came to this video. We have a very cold air mass that's going to be in parts of Canada, and then that's going to dip down into the eastern United States. This time it's really not even a polar vortex or a high pressure that's coming down. It's actually a low pressure, and that's coming down from parts of James Bay in Canada right through here, and it just dipped down into the northeast very, very strong, and because it was so strong, it was pulling in all this cold air. So this is tomorrow morning, your low temperatures, and the scale is on the right side of your screen, and you can see those temperatures are ranging from just below 0 to about 20 degrees in much of the northeast and parts of the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes. We have, again, some of those below zero temperatures back through the interior Northeast and parts of northern New England. Here's what your wind speeds are going to be like. Your wind gusts for tomorrow, Tuesday, we're looking at in knots, and the conversion rate would be 1.15 times whatever you see on the screen, and that's how you get it to miles per hour. Unfortunately, I'm not able to find the map that has it in miles per hour. It's unfortunately in knots, so it makes it a little bit more confusing, but generally, that's kind of the conversion. You can do the math quickly in your head, and we're looking at generally in miles per hour, winds gusting to about 45 to 50 and 55 miles per hour. Some of the higher elevations might see gusts closer to 60 or 70 miles per hour in parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, back through Maine. So we're also going to have to watch out for that threat. And when you combine that with the colder temperatures, this is what you get in terms of wind chills. And zooming in on the Northeast, we have wind chills that are below zero for much of the Northeast, from about New York City northward is where we have those wind chills that are below zero, and in the single digits everywhere else, we have wind chills that are below -10, basically anywhere from here northward, and you even have a few wind chills that are below -20, below -30 in some of these areas, even approaching -35 in some isolated locations back through parts of Maine and New Hampshire. So this is definitely a very, very cold event, especially for this time of year. Now, here's your chances of seeing a temperature, an actual temperature, not even just a wind chill, an actual temperature below zero tomorrow, according to the GFS ensemble models, and we're looking at nearly 100% chance back through parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, as well as another area for the Adirondacks in upstate New York. And if you look at the chance of being below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, you can see that covers the entire part of the eastern and northeastern quarter of the United States, from parts of Minnesota and Iowa eastward to about the East Coast. That's where we're looking at that chance of below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can see that also spreads into parts of the Rockies, where in some of those higher elevations, mainly in parts of the interior Mountain West, we also have that chance of below 32-degree temperatures. Now, let's play it through the rest of the week, and let's see what the temperatures are going to look like for your low temperatures. So this is for Wednesday. Warms up significantly. Actually, much of the country is actually a little bit above average for many of these areas. So we're actually seeing that polar vortex, or that cold air mass, retreat a little bit, which it's centered right over here. By this point, we see temperatures that are well above normal for parts of, especially the Great Plains. We're seeing warm temperatures rise up from parts of the Gulf of Mexico and move up into that area. And then here to be by Thursday, it actually warms up even more. We see low temperatures for much of the country that are above 32 degrees. Some of those areas further north have low temperatures that are in the 20s, but even that is a little bit above average for most of those areas. And then Friday is when the cold air finally comes back, and we see more of those temperatures back into the 20s, the teens, the single digits, even a few below zero amounts in parts of the Northeast as well. Then as we move through Saturday, it retreats a little bit. Still cold for Saturday. It's still cold for especially the interior Northeast by Sunday. And then that polar vortex, or that cold air mass, comes right back. Here's where it's centered, right back through here. And you can see it's oriented somewhat like this. It's about to head out. This is a quick moving pattern and system. And this is going to quickly dip in and out of the eastern United States. But while it's there, you're going to see very, very cold temperatures. Again, maybe even some gusty winds, which could bring some of those wind chills well below zero in some of those areas. Still lingering in by Tuesday, the 9th of March. And then by Wednesday, it's really retreating. You can see the very warm conditions overtaking parts of the Great Plains. Again, you're looking at low temperatures in the 60s and low and mid 60s, even for parts of Texas, and that's definitely above average for those areas. Now, here's what the temperature anomalies look like for those various days. So this is for tomorrow. We see temperature anomalies compared to normal, well above average for parts of the northern plains, but well below normal for parts of the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, back through into parts of the southern plains. So we definitely have an upside down pattern where we have some of the warmest temperatures back through the northern plains. We have colder temperatures back through into parts of the southern part of the country and the eastern part of the country. So it's kind of an all over the place pattern, and that's usually how March goes. It's a very, very volatile month in terms of the weather pattern, and you have a very, very active pattern most years. Now we start to go in a little bit of a warmer pattern for much of the Great Lakes and the northern tier of the United States by Wednesday. And then by Thursday, it's marginally above normal for many of these areas, a little bit colder further to the south. By Friday is when the colder temperatures return back through the eastern United States. And you can see by Saturday, they're still there. Into Sunday, still below normal for some of those areas. Monday, Monday, the 8th of March, still below normal for much of the eastern part of the country. And then here's by Tuesday, and you can see the warm air is trying to suppress this cold air further to the south, but it will still linger on, even to parts of the East Coast. Is still lingering on to the cold temperatures even by Wednesday, but much of the central part of the country is actually back to those very, very warm temperatures, closer to 20 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. Now, here's what the 6 to 10 day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center shows, and we have a 70 to 80% chance within this very kind of almost a pink color for parts of the northern plains of seeing above normal temperatures. The only area within the 6 to 10 day outlook, which is from Saturday the 6th to Wednesday the 10th, of seeing below normal is over the west coast and also over parts of the southeast. And then if we look at the 8 to 14 day outlook from the 8th of March to the 14th of March, we're looking at well above average temperatures for much of the eastern part of the country, colder for the western part of the country, which is kind of the opposite of what we've seen much of this winter, and it's completely flip-flopped as we got through at least the late part of February into March. It's now looking like we have the complete opposite pattern almost in some of these areas. And if you look at the 3 to 4 week probability, those of you who really like the warm weather and want to get out there, this is the perfect forecast for you guys. We're looking at warm temperatures even through the period between March 13th and March 26th. It still looks like you have warm temperatures back through here. So we definitely don't have any shortage of warm temperatures. Occasionally you'll get some colder temperatures, but generally we're looking at a fairly warm pattern after this cold wave. We have a slight risk of hazardously cold temperatures for the western United States, according to I believe this is the Climate Prediction Center who does these maps. And if you're wondering for any chances of snow, here's the snow track right here. This is where most of these storms are going to be entering through parts of the northern plains into the northern Great Lakes, as well as for parts of the interior Northeast, especially is where you have that threat of still some snowstorms moving through. Whatever's back through here, this is really questionable. I just took the frame from the European model, put out the snowfall map, and again, this is in no way my snowfall forecast. We're going to be covering these events as they happen, but this is just a general idea of what you could be expecting and where these storms should generally set up. And you can see that the trend has been for these storms to head further north and to stay further to the north as well. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.